Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? Let me do my hair. Okay, thank you for that. After swim, I shower, but then I have the windows down in the car and I don't realize my hair gets all messed up. We can't have that. Not from the professor. All right, so gold, basketball, baseball, any other sport, and a little bit of bricks and gold. And then I've been listening to some of these videos on socialism, how they think it works. But I want to prove this story because it bothers me when people say, oh, no, socialism works. And it's like, no, it doesn't. But just because they say it works, people believe it going, well, wait, they said, Sweden, it works, or yeah, it didn't work in Russia or Cuba or Venezuela, but we're talking on different socialism. And you're like, no, there's just one. It's just like, well, we're talking not Mahomes or not Lamar. We're talking a different Lamar. No, there's just one. So we'll get into that. Greg and John, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the hell you are. All right. So gold price is now, again, this is paper gold, not physical gold, as we must differentiate. And it's at 23.15. It's really not going anywhere. It gets up to 23.20, 23.22, and then down to 23.12. Now it's going up to 23.14. That's all fake. Silver 27.27. So the real gold price is like 20,000. The real silver price is about 2,000. That's the physical price. This paper price is absolutely meaningless. All right, so let's get into, that's our gold. Just check in and wait next week. It'll blow up. Let's get into baseball yesterday. We have the Phillies, which wins. Phillies have been hot, beating the Niners again. Cleveland over 7. They don't get there. It stays under. Pitt over 8. We get fooled by the high ERA guys throwing good games. Our 5-unit, Tampa Bay over 8 wins easily. Seattle under 8 wins. The Cubbies under 7.5 loses. It's amazing the over games, Cleveland and Pitt with the weak pitchers don't get over, and then the Cubs, who should get over or should stay under, get over. Then we win with the Mets is a winner. We lose with Miami under 8, and then we lose with Oakland over 7.5. So our 2 5-stars, Tampa over 8 wins, Oakland over 7.5 loses. Okay. So we do a little digging into it. We have finished there's my spreadsheet. So it's got each team run, and then it gets into earnings and earned run average and batting average. So you basically are looking at the teams, and I'm starting to rank the teams. You can see AZ under, over, whatever. And even then, I don't think I am close to, like I am in football, to really getting to the teams. Like I say, it's a different average thing that you're looking at. You know what you're getting with Mahomes. It's one guy. It's Mahomes, it's Burrow, Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers. You pretty much know what you got with them. You get Lamar and Hurts, you know what you got with them. The defense, you pretty much know what you got with them. It really doesn't change. It's really not being done by the pitcher. Baseball, it is. So you get Verlander, you ain't hitting. I don't care what your batting average is. But if you got Joe Blow, yeah, you're probably gonna. You assume when you get the Joe Blows with the 5-run ERAs, you're gonna get nothing out of them. Right? You're gonna get 5 runs. But it doesn't. All of a sudden, they pitch one hitters. All of a sudden, they shut you out. All of a sudden, well, they only go 3 innings, and then the bullpen comes in. And as we've talked about the bullshit bullpen, you pitch 1 inning. So it's really kind of irrelevant. All right. Gold will go up to what price you think? Well, gold's going to go to, you can't even say, because it'll initially go 30,000 US dollars. But when the dollar goes out, gold's going to go to priced in gold. There won't be a dollar price anymore. That's where it eventually heads to as the dollar goes out, because you printed too much. And if that happens, then gold's gold. Gold will buy you a house, as I've said. So you can't really look at the price of gold in dollars like it is now, because it's going to not be, it'll be gold priced in gold. So it's going to go here, 2,300, then it goes up to 5,000, then it goes up to 10,000. And at what point does the dollar go to zero? Dollar goes to zero, then gold's not priced in dollars anymore. As Egon said, that's why I show you these other economists. As Egon said, it won't even be priced in dollars. There's no amount of dollars you'll be able to spend on it to buy it. And I showed you that article from Germany in the Reichsmark in the 20s. It was like, I don't know, it went up to like 87,000 to like 3 trillion for an ounce of gold until it just went out. Now gold's been priced in US dollars. So now when the dollar goes out, boom, here comes brics. Now they're going to want to price gold in brics currency. And it's going to be much higher because they got the gold. So if you look at it from a superficial standpoint, the U.S. has no gold. brics has gold. The U.S. doesn't want the gold price to go up because that'll make brics rich. Russia, China, and those guys. So it makes them rich, and we don't have gold. So the last thing we want is a high gold price, because we don't have any and they do. That's the fight at COMEX. However, they won't be able to hold it on for much longer. It's going to go. That ends the dollar, and there goes brics now saying, we want the gold price to be 20,000. But it won't even be dollars. I don't even know what it'll be, 20,000 brics, and how much is brics going to be. So it's going to be a different medium of exchange. That's why you must have gold, because the brics dollar, who knows what it'll be worth, versus the US dollar. The US dollar is not going to be worth anything. You're going to have $1 million and it's going to buy a cup of coffee. So that's why gold will hold its value. That's why you want gold. Frozen. You froze for a minute, so we won't use money. So I assume I'm not froze now. So you won't use money anymore for paying for stuff. Yes, we will use money. We won't use US dollars. We will use a new medium of exchange. This is what I try to teach you. The dollar is a medium of exchange, which means you get paid in this and you spend in this. That's what a medium of exchange is. They've settled on using a dollar because you can put it in your wallet and it's a pretty common currency. But you can't print this to zero. And because they printed it, and they printed it 150 trillion of these things, it doesn't have a value. Nobody wants it. They start to realize, wait a minute, gold's value. That's what Bitcoin's about, is trying to get out of this, but you can't do it without a government. That's Bitcoin's flaw. Doesn't work if you keep the government out of it. Even though you think the government's the problem. Now, had Bitcoin backed it by gold, it might have worked, but you still can't do it without a government. Doesn't work that way. That's why BRICS is a government, and their BRICS has got to bless the gold-backed currency. So this is a medium of exchange. So this goes out, and then we have a new medium of exchange. Let's say this is a BRICS. It's a Euro 5, but let's say it ends up being, a BRICS 5. So let's say this is BRICS, and it's a $5 BRICS backed by gold. That's the new money. So that's what happens. Now, to survive, we need gold, because this will never lose its value. It can't. That's why I say there's no risk in it. So if you have dollars, they go to zero. BRICS doesn't want them. But if you go to this, BRICS will take gold. They always will take gold. And that's what will be the new money. Exactly. The new medium of exchange is the gold-backed currency. And that's what you're going to use to buy and pay for things and get paid. When you go to work, you can't get paid in dollars anymore. They're worthless. People working now, you make $100,000 at your job, you're getting paid in toilet paper. And the quicker you change it to gold, as I do when I'm working, I immediately get it out of dollars into gold. When I'm not working, I'm balancing it, but I'm getting other forms of income, not as much as I want. Everyone will have to be in gold. Well, yes. I mean, if you look around the world, look at Zimbabwe, right? And they were in this Zimbabwe dollar that was worthless, right? It was 40,000 Zimbabwe dollars to buy one US dollar. So they couldn't eat, they couldn't do anything. And that's where we're going to be. Only it's not going to be Zimbabwe versus US. It's going to be US versus BRICS. And we can't compete with BRICS. You can't compete with gold. Only gold can compete. It's like you can't compete with Mahomes. Only Burrow can. So you end up where you really can't do anything. And you're going to have to be in gold, which is why I tell you to buy it now before the dollar is worthless and while gold's still available at these cheap prices. 2,300. Believe me, you'll never see that again. It's you're going to have a zero at the end of it. That's why I won't sell my gold now, because it's worth so much more. Why would I sell something so cheaply? That's like selling my Mahomes card. That's like selling this for $10. Well, it's worth 1,000. Why would I sell it for 10? And it's going to be worth more. Yeah, I probably shouldn't sell it at $10. And that's what gold is. That's why I don't understand profit taking. How can you profit take? Because the profit goes right back into dollars. If you sell it, if I sell this is worth about $700, a quarter ounce. My baby. Okay. So this is a quarter ounce US Eagle, and it's worth 700 of these. But this 700 of these is worthless. This is worth 700 in dollars, but imagine what it's worth in other dollars. So this will go up in value greatly. This goes to zero if it's not already there. So why would I profit take? Because then I got to get back in dollars. And that's why I use the Titanic vernacular so much, is why would you want to get on a sinking ship? You just got off the sinking ship. You're going to sell the lifeboat and get back on this ship? That makes no sense. So that's really what you're looking at and why you're doing what you're doing. And the medium of exchange is strictly a medium. It's something that you can get paid in, that you can use to buy goods and services, pay your rent, pay your house, buy a car, go on a vacation. It's all used with the money you earn working. So that's the medium of exchange. So it's got to be something that everybody wants, not Bitcoin. And it should be gold, but the government, since it's so corrupt, can't print more dollars on gold, because you can only have as many dollars as you have gold, because it's implied that you'll be able to exchange the money for gold. So I got $100. I go to the bank. I said, all right, I want $100 of gold. And they'd give me $100 worth of gold. That's the idea. You're not supposed to print more dollars than you have gold. And that's what got the U.S. in troubles in the late 60s with the Vietnam War. They kept printing dollars to pay for the war, and they got to the point where they had more dollars than gold. And the other countries said, I don't want your dollar, give me my gold. And we gave them gold, and that's why they raised the price of gold. And they said, well, we got to get off the gold standard because we need to print. And that's why COMEX came in to say, we need to keep the price of gold down before, we're going to lose it all. So they kept the price at $35, and it's been a bullshit price ever since. And that's why I tell you, well, it's worth a lot more, is because it's bullshit and it's been kept down. But I see it's not going to be kept down anymore once BRICS rolls it out and wants a free market price of gold, which is what we want. We want it to be just like the Mahomes card, just like a Rolex watch. Rolex watch is at the market. They sell it for 40 grand. Why do they get 40 grand for a Rolex watch, but I get $700 for this? This is worth more than the Rolex watch. I mean, that's the funny part. Or the Montana rookie card I show you, $125,000. You don't think gold's worth more than the Montana rookie card? I mean, it's insane. So that's the point, and that's where I justify the price is basically at that amount. So yes, everybody will eventually need gold, and it's coming very soon. And if you don't have it, you're not going to be able to buy a lot. So everybody is worried, but they don't understand. Everything's priced in dollars. So when the dollar goes out, you're just going to get a new medium of exchange, which will be a gold-backed currency by BRICS, or the U.S. will come out with a gold-backed currency, but we don't have any gold to do it with. So it'll be a fake gold-backed currency if we do it. CBDCs won't help you. Nothing electric, just because it's electric. If the dollar, whatever they come out with, is not backed by gold, it's worthless. CBDCs will have no value, and I would highly advise you not to be in them. And I think we'll have an option of CBDCs or dollars, just like there's the option now. We can be in dollars, or we can be in Bitcoin. You don't have to be in Bitcoin. I don't think you have to be in the CBDCs. They'll sell it as you should, but I definitely don't smell what they're cooking. It's definitely not backed by gold. It's worthless. And so you must understand that. So that's the key that you understand, is the gold-backed dollar can only work if it's backed by gold. And if any currency is not backed by gold, it's worthless. It'll go to zero, and you can't trust it. You shouldn't trust the dollar now. It's not worth anything. And people who trust the government are basically idiots. The government's responsible for 9/11. It's their own doing. They knew it was going to happen. That's why there was no F-18 in the sky when they happened. Even after the first one happened, there was no F-18 in the air before the second one hit. How the fuck could that possibly happen? Can't, right? So that's how bad our defenses are, that we let a F-18 hit a building, and we don't then scour the skies for other planes, and we let them happen. And then you want to trust these idiots. So either they're just so stupid, you don't want to trust them, or they're just liars and you don't want to trust them. Everyone will have to be in gold, of course. Gold will be king. Gold already is king. Putin was reelected today. No, he was reelected a few weeks ago. He had an election where he knew he was going to win, but he gave him credit. He had the election. That's more than Zelensky did. Zelensky's done. Ukraine's done. They're just, how do you divide it out? Now I think that the war is about their farmland. They have the most fertile soil in the Ukraine. And I believe that's what this war is now turning into, is going after the farmland. I don't know. You keep hearing different stories. It's about NATO. It's about farmland. Anyway, you want to slice it, Russia won by 72-0. And it's all over. It's just, we won't surrender. The U.S. won't surrender. This is a war between the U.S. and Russia. And I don't even know it's a war. We never showed up. It's like playing a football game. And, we're not going to, we'll have the Raiders play for us. Well, wait, you're the Giants. Why aren't you playing the 49ers? Oh, no, we're going to have the Raiders play the 49ers. Okay, I've never heard of a game like that before, but okay. So that's what you have. You have a mess. No people. What was it, TK? Demolition. What was it, TK? Demolition airplanes. No, my point is the F-18s to defend the airspace never showed up. Now, did the planes actually run into the Trade Center? I don't know, but it definitely wasn't the jet fuel that brought them down. It wasn't hot enough. Burns at 800 degrees. To burn steel, it's 2,500. Not hot enough. And the way the building came down, it was a demolition, like the Stardust. It was just boom, boom, boom. It was never from the planes. That was just the con, which makes you believe that it's, and then you see Brink's trucks going out, stealing the gold. Now you really know what it was about. And so no people were on planes. I don't know. I doubt it. From what from the Lear planes said, was that it would be extremely difficult to fly a plane into the Trade Center in a city like that. It's just very difficult. It'd be 1,000,000 to 1 shot if a plane actually hit it. So I'm not really sure if it was like movie, like the moon landing was fictional or this. Hard to say. But for sure, the plane did not bring down the trades. No, there's no way the plane hit it. The fire, which wouldn't have happened, was so hot it melted the building. I mean, that never would have. It's impossible. That's a fairy tale. So, but again, the government hides it, and if you just listen to, and that's all I did was listen to engineers, and they said it can't. It's got to be 2,500 degrees, and airplane fuel doesn't. And the airplane would not have done it. The nose would have hit, and then it would have broken off, and the plane would have fallen on the street. So the engine and the wings should be on the street somewhere. Were they? I don't know. They didn't show that part of it. The building coming down was a demolition, so it wasn't from the planes. So therefore, under one of them was all this gold, and that's what was stolen. So it's, how do we steal gold? Well, we'll fake a plane hitting and demolition the building. Everybody will be busy with that, and then we'll steal the gold. And that's exactly what happened. And the guy who owned the building took out a $1 billion insurance policy just in case a terrorist hit the building 2 days earlier. Just in case. We'll see. I doubt it'll happen. Just in case, let's take it out today for starting tonight. That if a plane if there's a terrorist attack on the building and it goes down, I'm covered. And so he made billions of dollars on this insurance for a terrorist attack 2 days before. Come on, what are we, stupid? So I'm not saying no people were on the planes. I don't know if they hit. That part leaves me bewildered because it'd be extremely difficult to hit the building flying a plane in New York City. I mean, it's too densely populated, and the wind and everything else is very difficult to fly the plane directly in it. That's why you need a runway and the lights and the landing gear and everything. You can't just fly into it. The odds on that hitting it, and then the plane running through it, and the gas catching on fire, it's zero. Never happened. So anyway, gold is the answer because you can't print it and it's demanded and it's money, which is why I talk about gold a lot and I talk about money a lot, where I explain exactly what it is. And it's got to be limited and wanted. And Bitcoin simply isn't. Bitcoin's not wanted. I don't want it. You don't want it. So if it's not wanted, it's not a medium of exchange. Therefore, it's not money. It's not accepted everywhere, and you can't go spend it. I mean, the key, as we've said, the key about this is I can go to the restaurant and I can go to Target and I can go to Kroger's and I can use it and I can get paid in it. But you got me in Bitcoin. How do I even get it? How do I get paid in it? And then how do I use it? Because nowhere is going to use it. Now, the question that Bobby's daughter would say is, well, how do I use gold? We're not understanding it. And it's the same thing. Well, you use gold basically with the intent of cashing it in. Gold holds its value. So at this point, you're cashing in the gold for money to use at the grocery stores and the restaurants. Later on, you won't have to. You'll use the gold. They'll start accepting gold to buy the goods and services at the restaurants and grocery stores. But the price of gold now at 2,300 is a joke. Not where it's going to be much, much higher. So they've been keeping it down on purpose to keep you thinking it's not worth anything. And they're wrong, but they've been price fixing it for years. So you never think it has a value. You're wrong. Okay. Wow, Texas 11, Oakland nothing in the second inning. Let's go over on that game. Can't do that. All right. 6-10, Detroit and Cleveland. So, as I said, I've been able to add in earned run average, batting average to try to figure out things. So, like Colorado, for example, they score 123 runs, gave up 200. They're a Z team. Any way you slice it, that's an easy one. Their ERA is 5.65, so they're giving up a ton of runs, which you can see by the 200 runs they allowed. And their batting average is 235. So they're basically bet against. They're basically an over team. So if you face the other half, the other team with the high ERA and a big batting average, and they can score, those are the beautiful overs that we've been finding. So let's go through this. So we'll get back to gold if you want. And anyway, Detroit and Cleveland. I can see the switch finally went on in Greg and John because I've been talking about this for a long time, and now he's starting to get it. So I'm happy for Greg and John. Detroit, Cleveland. Cleveland, 135, 8.5. Kenta Mada, 1-1 with a 5.02 for Detroit. Logan Allen, 3-2 with the 5.11. So this fundamentally looks like an over, but Detroit doesn't score. Cleveland's got a 3.41 ERA with a 2.42 batting average. And Detroit has a 3.24 ERA, 2.20. So they both have good ERAs, both have good bullpens, both don't score too much. Cleveland scores a little bit more, 168. So in what should be an over, Detroit has such a bad lineup. I mean, 5 of the guys can't hit 200. I mean, I think you just got to go under in Detroit. It's not a 5 unit. I'm just going to go Detroit under 8.5. This is one team that is so unpredictable. It's because they're so bad and the players on it shouldn't be in the majors and they're so inconsistent. One day you get 9 runs, one day you get 2 runs. You don't know what you're going to be getting from the team. But the one thing I'm pretty sure of, they're going to lose. So let's go Cleveland. Even better. Let's skip Detroit under. Let's just go Cleveland to win. Arizona, Cincinnati. Zach Gallen for Arizona, 3-2 with a 3.38. Frankie Montas, 2-2 with a 4.19. Arizona's favored 130, over under 8.5. A 4 and a 3. Arizona's favored. So let's see, Arizona. I got them as an over team. They got a 4.41 ERA and a 2.50 batting. To me, anybody 2.50 and above is a good hitting team. ERA of 4.41. They score 175, give up 160. So they're an over team. They score a lot, give up a lot. Against Cincinnati. Now, here's where I get in trouble. Cincinnati gives up 4 a game, but only hits 210. They don't hit. They only scored 152, gave up 148. So if the pitching's even, which it isn't, yes, I think Arizona is the way to go here, as they're the better team and they got the better pitching. Zach Gallen, 3.38 against Frankie Montas, 4.19. So we're starting to get the variables that tell us, we can take this team should beat that team. This team's not that good. They're a Z team. They don't have a good bullpen. They can't hit. And there's a lot of teams that do not have players that are major league caliber on their roster. There's simply not enough players for all these teams. And the way they are doing with all these pitchers, there's even less fielding players. And most of the pitchers are minor league. So there's maybe 3 or 4 pitchers on the team that should be in the major league. That's it. So you're getting a bunch of inconsistencies. And then on the hitting team, you maybe have 3, 4 hitters on a team that can hit 275 or more. And like Atlanta, might have 6. But generally, you're looking at all these 130, 190s, 110s, 0. There's a guy in the Tigers, Parker Meadows, isn't even hitting 100. What is he doing? We'll give him a chance. No. He should be in the minor leagues until he hits 300. And if these guys don't hit 300, you shouldn't have them up. Because if they can't hit 300 in the minors, they're not going to hit 200 in the majors. And that's what the Tigers have. A whole slew of guys in the 110s, 115s, 95s, a 205. It's just, I think I'll keep a stat on that. Batting order. And then what I love is the guy's hitting 300, you pinch hit for him with a guy hitting 190. Was the manager on drugs? Why would you bring in he's left-handed against the right-hander? He can't hit anyway. He can't hit little league pitching. All right. So Toronto and Philly. Philly's been red hot. 120 over under of 8. Jose Berrios, 4-2 with a 1.44. Christopher Sanchez, 1-3 with the 3.68. So where they're taking Toronto or the under. Philly's been hot, but now you're facing a 1.44 ERA. So maybe you have to go under. Toronto, 4.51 ERA and a 2. So Toronto's really an under team. Philly is an A team, so they got a 3.36. So I'm going to go under here. We'll go Philly under 8. Excuse me. And we're going to make that our first 5 unit. Toronto's an under team. Philly, good bullpen. So Toronto's not going to score a lot, but Toronto's got a good pitcher with a 1.44 area. So Philly's not going to score a lot. I'm not going to fuck around. Philly's hot, but I'm not going to fuck around with Sanchez, who's a 3.68. I think Toronto would win the game, but Philly's been hot, and I'm pretty sure it's going to stay under. So let's go under 8. California and Pittsburgh. Pitt's a 130 favorite, 7.5 games in Pitt. Patrick Sandoval for California, 1-5 with a 5.91. What is he doing in the pros? Quinn Priester 0-2 with a 3.31. So we can't bet Pitt because their pitcher hasn't even won. Sandoval stinks. See, this is my problem. Sandoval shouldn't be in the majors, but they need somebody, so he's in it, but he's not a major league pitcher. So you can never bet Sandoval. Quinn Prieston 0-2 with a 3.31. Now, this is where we have to see the teams. So now I feel better. I'm getting that. So California is got a 4.90 ERA and a 2.40. So they're pretty much a decent over team. They scored 139 runs, gave up 180. So they're going to give up a lot of runs here. And can Pitt take advantage? Pitt's 126.41, a good ERA. They don't hit for much. So they should hit Sandoval. So let's go over here, but I don't love it. Pitt over 7.5. I don't love it because Pitt doesn't really hit much. California, though, isn't over, and their pitcher's 5.91. So Pitt should have. I mean, it's a 220 average. It's an average, but against this guy, they should be able to score runs. Against, the guy who's pitching one with a 1.5 ERA, they're not going to hit. So that's why the pitcher's the key to it, right? If he's a good pitcher in a weak hitting team like Pittsburgh, he ain't going to do anything. However, with the 5.91 ERA, they should be able to get 3 or 4 runs on him. Baltimore, Washington, Corbin Burns for Baltimore, 3-1 with the 2.61 against Trevor Williams, 3-0 with the 2.27. We're going under in this game. And we'll make it a 5-unit play. Now let's check out Baltimore. They're an A team, score 180, give up 125, a 3.31 ERA and a 2.51 batting average. So they should keep Washington down. And Washington 142, 152, a 4.1 ERA and a 2.33. So I think Baltimore wins the game, but they're a 2.25 favorite. So of course they'll win the game. Trevor Williams. So with the 2.27, I think this game stays low. So Baltimore under 8.5. Although Baltimore can score on you, so be careful. The White Sox in Tampa. Tampa's a huge favorite, 275 over under 8. So we're going to look over under. Michael Soroka, 0-3 with a 6.48 against Zach Eflin. Now, the problem here is the White Sox basically hit, the White Sox hit 211 with the 5 ERA. And these are high. And Tampa hits 243. This is going to be an over. Yeah, we're going to go TB over 8, and we'll make this a 5-unit. They should get a lot of runs in this game. Both pitchers suck, but when you go to the bullpen, they suck pretty much. Houston against the Yankees. Here we go. Justin V. 1-0 with the 2.08. Last game was a non-decision. It was tied, and they went to overtime. Against Louis Gill, 2-1 with the 3.19. I know the Yankees hate Verlander. Well, we're going to go under. The Yankees have a great bullpen. So let's go Houston under 8.5. That's a huge number against Verlander. We'll make this a 5-unit. Yankees have a great bullpen. Houston's not hitting. The Yankees hit, but they're not going to hit. Aaron Judge will go 0-for-3 with the 3 strikeouts against Verlander. Verlander's starting to get in the groove. So he pitched last time, and he gave up 2 runs. And that's about all I expect the Yankees. They're not going to hit Verlander. Louis Gill, 2-1 with the 3.19 should keep Houston down. So it's a beautiful under game. Go Verlander, beat Navy. The Red Sox in Atlanta. Wow, Atlanta's a 190 favorite, 8.5. Cutter Crawford, my favorite, 2-1 with a 1.56 against Ronaldo Lopez, 2-1 with the 1.50. I love Cutter Crawford. But what do I do here? Oh my God, I can get Cutter Crawford as a 190. He's a 190 favorite. So let's look at it. Atlanta, 163, 129. They're an A team with a 3.76 ERA, and a 2.58 batting average. Atlanta's just the best team against Boston. 162, 121, a 2.61 ERA. Jesus Christ. I mean, most of these guys are in the threes. They're 2.61 and a 2.46. There's going to be no runs. This is my lock. Let's go Boston under 8.5. And this is going to be 10 units. This is the big boy. Much as I want Verlander to be the big boy, this is it. You got a one. Cutter Crawford, I love 156 against Lopez 150. Holy fuck. Now, the Dodgers did hold Atlanta down for whatever that's worth. You can hold it down. This is kind of a rivalry. The Boston Braves move to Atlanta, and they become the Atlanta Braves. Yeah, see, I can't take Atlanta minus 190 against Cutter Crawford. This is the best you're going to see Cutter Crawford get 190. So I think if you money line guys might want to put a little Cutter Crawford bet down also. I know Bobby likes the money line. Wherever you are, Bobby, it's like, where's Waldo? Where's Bobby? Are you on the beach? Are you in the hospital? Are you in Cuba in a prison? Where the hell are you? So hopefully he's okay. I don't think he's ignoring us. I think he's more something happened to him. Sort of like not hearing from Daria for a week. I don't know, but Daria I heard from today, so I was happy. She was at work, but she said I'm at work, and but I sent her rent money, so I knew I'd get her. See, that's the thing. When I send her rent money, I get the response because she's looking for it. She gets it. She's got to call her sister here in America to tell her. The sister doesn't really look for it. So Daria will say, Howard sent PayPal, send it to me. So the sister gets it in US, converts it to rubles and sends her the rubles because I can't send US to Russia because of the sanctions. So she's looking for it, and she normally gets it about now. I got my Social Security early. I got it yesterday for some reason. I was looking in my bank to check the rent, and I see this amount. And I'm going, wow, that's really high. Maybe they didn't take the rent. And then I see they took the rent, but I got Social Security. So I got it a week early, which was good because there's a couple of credit cards that I have that hit the middle of the month. And it's supposed to be the second Monday of the month, which really, this is the first Monday. But I think when it goes like this, and it's like the beginning of the month hits like that 1 week where it's the 29th and 30th, and then the first, maybe because the first is a Wednesday, it hits the second Wednesday of the month, which is tomorrow. I don't know. It's confusing, but it was there. So I was happy. I think it is. That's the second Wednesday of the month, and the first was Wednesday. I keep thinking it's Monday, but that's when I get paid. So it's the second Wednesday, and the Wednesday was the first, and this is the 8th, which is tomorrow, which is when I get paid money. Okay, so I think that's what it is. But I wondered, why did I get paid? But anyway, so I could pay her rent then, and then my credit cards, and so now I'm good. I'm a happy boy. I can go buy more gold. So excited. All right, so Boston, Atlanta, Milwaukee, and Kansas City. Kansas City minus 130, over under of 9. Colin Ray from Milwaukee, 3-0 with a 2.67 against Seth Lugo, who's 5-1 with a 1.6. Look at that. This is like under day. Milwaukee is an over team with a 4.01 ERA and a 250 batting average. You ain't hitting this guy. Kansas City with a 3.35. They're an A team, A against A. We're going under here. KC under 9. Oh my God, this is another 5-star. That's 5 stars in a row. Under, over, under, under, under. The unders are dominating today. Seattle, Minnesota. We've got Minnesota's a 150 favorite Emerson Hancock, 3-3 with a 4.75 for Seattle against Bailey Ober, 3-1 with a 4.55. Minnesota's been hitting. Seattle's terrible. Seattle comes in with a 223 batting average, but a great bullpen at 298. They're an under team. Minnesota hits 239 with a 396. This is another great under. This is under versus under. You got an 8.5. We're going under in this game. Minnesota under 8.5. Now, the difference is in the other games, the starters have like a 1.5 ERA, right? Here we have a little different. We have Hancock with a 4.75 and Ober with a 4.55. What do we do with it? And I think all you can do is realize the hitting's so bad that they should be able to keep the run scoring down. 4.75, 4.55. That's all we can say. We got 8.5, but that's why we're not betting it, because it's just the hitting's so weak. Seattle, they're both under teams, even though the pitchers are a little bit weak. Ober's not bad. He could shut them out. So we'll stay under 8.5. San Diego and the Cubbies. Cubbies 165-9. The Cubbies have been hot, 21. So here's what's weird. They're 21-15, and San Diego's 19-19. I mean, it's like you think the Cubbies are much better, but then when you look, they're virtually identical. A couple games separating them. Randy Vasquez for San Diego, 0-1 with a 5.87 against Shamta and Manga, 5-0 with an 0.78. Go Cubbies, beat Navy, and this will be a 5-unit. This isn't bad, a 165. I got a 5-0 pitcher with a 0.78 against San Diego with a 0-1 with a 5.87. I mean, this is going to be shutout city here. And let's look at San Diego and the Cubbies. San Diego, an over team, 4.28 ERA and a 2.59 batting average against the Cubbies, who are an E team, 168-150, a 3.75 ERA at 2.37. So don't look for San Diego to score much. So go Cubbies, another 5-unit play. This is like all the star pitchers or the better pitchers with the low ERAs are pitching today. It's unbelievable. All right. The Mets and the Cards. The Cards are 125 favorite, 8.5. Jose Buto, 0-2 with a 2.57. See, but he's 0-2 against Miles McCullis, 2-4 with a 5. He's a pig. So now let's get down to the teams. The METS, Mets. 3.71 bullpen, 2.36. They're an under team against the Cardinals, who I know is an under team. They're actually like a Z team. They score 118. They give up 150. 3.93 ERA and a 2.14. This is also another under, except for Miles McCullough. So I think you can take the METS, Mets here. This is just becomes where St. Louis isn't going to hit. And I don't like Budo, but he's got a 2.57 ERA, and McCullough with the 5.68. What are you going to do with this guy? The 49ers against the Broncos. Classic matchup. Montana against OA. Colorado 8-26. They're hurting. The Niners are 160 and 10 over under because it's in Colorado with the light air. You think they'd move the defenses back another 50 yards. Kyle Harrison for the Niners, 2-1 with the 3.79, and Dakota Fanning Hudson, 0-5 with a 5.93. Let's look at the Niners. They're a W team, 131. They give up 167, a 4.54 ERA, and they don't hit. They basically suck. They can't hit and they can't pitch. Against Colorado, who's a Z team. They score 123, give up 200, a 5.65 ERA. Okay, enough said. The Niners should win this game. We'll take the 49ers. No bet. Just go Niners, beat Broncos. Montana will get in the game in the second half, I think. Miami against the LA Dodgers. Miami's got Tagliavua going today, 10-27 against the Dodgers, 24. The Dodgers are 300 with a 7.5 ERA. Edward Cabrera, the game's in LA. Edward Cabrera, 1-1 with a 6.05 against Yagadu. Some Japanese guy, 3-1 with a 2.91. So how do you bet the Dodgers at 300? We can't do that. That's just stupid. So now we look 7.5. What will Miami do? They have a 228 batting average of 5.2. So Miami's the bullpen's going to come out and give up a ton of runs. And Miami's not going to score. And the Dodgers are an A team, 197 runs, 134 give up, 3.35 ERA. So Miami's not going to do anything. 273. Miami. We got to go Dodgers over because over 7.5. Because the bet's the Dodgers the whole way, but how do you lay 300? And we hit them hard with the Washington one where we took Washington as a 200 dog in one. But you don't have that opportunity here. That's when the Dodgers had their 6.0 ERA going against the 2.0 Washington ERA. Then it made it very attractive. Here, the 2.9 is for the Dodgers and the 6 is for Miami. There's no fucking way Miami's winning this game. But at 300, it's way too much. All right, basketball. So that's baseball. In the NBA, let's see. Minnesota flew out Denver. Our friend Anthony Davis, I don't know, did he score? Let's see what Anthony Davis did yesterday. 106-80. They went by 36 points. This is obviously a matchup nightmare. Darko is terrible. Minnesota, Anthony Edwards, 27 points. K Towns, 27 points, and that's it. Off the bench, Alexander, 14 points, and Reed, 14 points. So their bench guys are better than their starters, the forwards. On Denver, Jokic had 16 points, and A. Gordon, 20, and Holiday come off the bench for 13. This team sucks, Denver. Denver, I think, only has Jokic, but I don't think he's going to be a factor in this series. New York won 121-117. We didn't play it. We wanted to see. That was game one. So we probably bet Indy back game two. Now we're at a quandrum. Now the game's just back to Minnesota for 2 games. Denver, in a must-win yesterday, lost by 36. So again, you bet it because it's a must-win. Backs against the wall, and they get their ass kicked. So we're done with Denver here. And then the question will be, how much is Minnesota favored? So let's look at today. Today we got Cleveland-Boston, game 1. Boston's a 12.5-point favorite. I don't know the over-unders enough, how strong they are to start going over-under on the game like I would in football. I mean, in football, I had 4 or 5 playoff games over-under. It was a joke. The Lions over, KC under against Baltimore, and KC was the dog. It was beautiful. Dallas against Oklahoma City, also game 1. So again, we don't know enough. I can't name 2 guys on any of the teams except for Clay Thompson's son, or no, it's Clay Thompson, and what was it, Spud Webb, who's the star on Golden State, and our new friend Anthony Davis, and that's about it. So these are games that, Boston 12.5. I don't know the way Cleveland came back against Orlando, I'm not sure I'd be all over Boston laying 12.5 here. Seems like a big number for a team that can close. Dallas, Oak City, looks like Oak City minus 3.5, but we gotta see how the games start. Normally we'll bet the loser back in game 2, but we'll wait and see. But when you get a dominant Minnesota against Denver, then it becomes, see, the matchup was LA couldn't handle Jokic, but Minnesota can. And all Denver has is a one-man team. Minnesota has got Anthony Davis and a couple other guys. They have another Townsend or whatever. So they have two guys. Makes it harder to defend. And from what I hear, Denver doesn't play defense. So we will see. But that's what we're looking at. So today we're going to watch and learn. Too early in the series to start betting. Because we don't know these teams very well. So nothing in baseball. Who you like Yankees? I went through all the games, Greg and John. What do you go to sleep when I'm talking baseball? You wait for the baseball. I go through the baseball, and then you ask, who do I like in the baseball? What did you get out of my bait? Did you listen at all? So you should go back about 45 minutes in the tape and listen. Nothing in basketball. Yankees, I don't know. Who are they playing? The Yankees are playing. They're playing the Verlanders. It's Verlander against Gill. Yankees are minus 125, 8.5. And I ain't fucking with Verlander. So I took Houston under 8.5 because Gill is 2-1 with a 3.19. Verlander will probably shut out the Yankees for 6-7 innings. And then the bullpen comes in. The Yankees bullpen is stone cold Steve Austin. So that leaves you with going under or going Houston, but not the Yankees against Verlander. You got to be out of your mind. So that's who I like in the Yankee game. Now, let's recap. I like Cleveland. I like Arizona. Philly under 8. Pittsburgh over 7.5. Baltimore under 8.5. Tampa over 8. Houston under 8.5. Boston under 8.5. Kansas City under 9. Minnesota under 8.5. The Cubbies, the Mets, San Francisco, and the Dodgers over 7.5. The bets: Philly under 8, 5 unit. Baltimore under 8.5, 5 unit. Tampa Bay over 8, 5 unit. Houston under 8.5, 5 unit. Boston under 8.5. Boston under 8.5 is the 10 unit. KC under 9 is a 5 unit, and the Cubbies. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 big games, 6 5 units and a 10 unit. And again, it's Philly under 8, Baltimore under 8.5, Tampa over 8, Houston with Verlander under 8.5, KC under 9, and the Cubbies. And the 10 unit is Boston under 8.5 with my man Cutter Crawford with his 1.56 ERA. We're going under because Atlanta's got their guy Lopez with a 1.50 ERA. So we've got a lot of good low ERAs going today. That's why you've got so many unders. Houston with Verlander, Boston, KC, and then the Cubbies should take care of San Diego. They got their guy with a 0.78 ERA against a 5.87, and Shota Imanaganaga is 5-0 with his 0.78. So go Cubbies, beat Navy. So that, my friends, is baseball and basketball. Nothing on football yet. So I was watching, as we switch to economics, unless you have any more baseball, please feel free. See, this is why I repeat, I'm talking about 10 subjects. So whatever pops in. So we've talked gold and we've talked the gold standard and money. And now we're going to talk socialism and capitalism. Malimi destroys German ambassador, claiming socialism works. And let's go through it. We can watch it. It's only 5 minutes.
Guys, it's not a rumor. I just got the new 2024 stimulus check in the mail.
My name is Andreas Peschke, and I'm the ambassador of Germany. And well, thank you very much, Siabonga, for the dialogue and reaching out.
Is that German?
There's one thing I would like to mention. I listened to you very carefully when you spoke about the Marxist and Leninist principles of your organization. Some here in the room would know I grew up in a communist country. I grew up in a country called the German Democratic Republic, also known as East Germany. So I had
This was when the wall was
real
still up.
experience of really existing socialism. And so we had all these Marxist theories. I read a lot of Marxist texts at school. We always had Marx, Engels, you didn't mention Engels, and Lenin in our rooms as the guiding figures. We had nationalized everything. We had nationalized the land. We had nationalized the enterprises. But then after...
So what nationalize means is the government owns it, not the private person, not me and you. That's how it should be. But what he's saying when he says nationalist is government run. And we know the government fucks everything up.
40 years, we woke up and we realized that it didn't work. So the socialism as we experienced it, the communism as we experienced it in East Germany, it simply did not work. So when the Soviet Union broke up, I think we took the destiny in our hands and joined our brothers in Western Germany in order to build a social market economy. So I'm just sharing this and to let you know. And I'm happy, because I'm an example. Maybe it's interesting to you to speak to somebody who has this first-hand experience. I'm ready to share this experience in more detail of how real existing socialism looked like, because we made the experience that it didn't work. And maybe it's good also to try to learn. Everybody has to make its own experiences, but maybe it's also good to learn ukufunda kwa maputa, kwa wengine, from other mistakes. So maybe that's something I would like to offer.
Socialism didn't work in Germany, and you are going to tell us how it failed. But go and also learn from China how socialism works, and it has succeeded in China.
Hasn't succeeded in China. This guy's out of his fucking mind.
In Germany, it will fail everywhere else. We're not Germans, we're South Africans. In China, they've got socialism with Chinese characteristics. What stops South Africans from having socialism with South African characteristics? Learning from Germany, what worked, what did not work. Take the good things, leave the bad things.
It doesn't work.
Capitalism always resort to Chinese principles, to socialist principles, every time they get into trouble. When the banks failed in 2008 and put the world into a financial crisis, it was socialist principles that took the world out of that crisis through state intervention. Where was capital at that time? If we go now, we're in Pretoria now. Let's go to commercial crimes or go to liquidation or high court and all of that. Every day.
So this guy's out of his fucking mind because it was socialism that got the banks in trouble in the first place, forcing banks to take bad loans. That's why the banks were in trouble. Socialism did not help. the fact that the Fed helped get out of the crisis that was caused by Clinton and all his little idiots. But he doesn't talk about what happened that it became a problem. And then for some reason, I don't know where he's getting this, that socialism was fixed it. Where in God's name did socialism fix it? So he thinks if the government came in to fix it, that's socialism. That's not socialism. Socialism is market can get controlled by the government. Where in that mess did the market get controlled by the government? Private banks collapse because of socialism. But where in God's name did socialism fix it? Where in God's name did China socialism work? No, didn't work. If the banks bail them out, that's not socialism bailing them out. That's capitalism. We're the ones with the money. The system was fucked because they bailed out the banks. I don't know if you call that socialism, but that's not good either. The banks should have failed. In a capitalism system, the banks would have failed, as is what should have happened. So the fact that the Fed bailed out the banks wasn't right, but it wasn't socialism that fixed the banks. See, the guy will say something and people believe it because they have no fucking idea. So that's why I'm playing this and reporting on it is no, socialism never works. When it gets involved with capitalism is when capitalism has problems, i.e. Clinton forcing the banks to take the loans of people with bad credit scores. That's what socialism interfered, not with the free market, and it blew up because of socialism. Lucas, it's been 10 years of me investing in gold and silver. Very disappointed. Feels like it'll never. Well, it's at 2,300. And can you wait 1 week till brics announces gold and it goes? Be patient. We're getting off the dollars. Is dying. We're almost there. I feel like I've let down my family because now I'm totally priced out of the housing market. And most of my money is wrapped up in physical, which banks don't look at for a mortgage. You haven't let your family down. You're about to make your family rich, and your kids will never have to work. You've done the right thing, and you've got to understand you're fighting the Fed because the Fed has the monopoly. JP Morgan has the monopoly to print dollars. So what do you think? They want to lose the monopoly on dollars to gold? That's why they fight to keep the gold price down, only it won't work anymore. It's about to go. As far as the housing market being overvalued in dollars, you don't own dollars. You own gold. And the housing market will be fine in gold. As I say, you'll take 2 ounces of gold and buy a house with it. So no, you didn't let anybody down. We're ahead of the game. As I told you, we're 3 steps ahead. Don't think like that. Don't get frustrated. That's exactly what they want you to do. So what are you going to do? Get back into dollars and go sink in the Titanic? You don't want to do that. You've made the right move. You have nothing to apologize for. You just have to wait. We're almost there. We're at brics time next week. They're announcing a gold-backed currency. It's going to, in the U.S., you can't print $150 trillion and not have it sink. All these countries are de-dollarizing, so they're getting out of the dollar, which makes it sink. Would you rather be in stocks and watch them go to zero? Or, if you had a house, guess what? The value of the house is going to zero. So what would you rather be in? You're not looking at the whole picture. You're getting frustrated with the paper gold price, which I tell you is the paper gold price, not the physical price. I love that response. My kids will never have to work. They will never have to work. Daria and Jenna will never have to work. You don't understand where the price of gold's going to the point where it'll not be priced in dollars. It'll be priced in gold. Gold will buy a house. I think Greg and John asked me, what do I think the price of this is going to? And I said, it'll go to like 20 grand until this goes to zero. And once that's out of the way, you cannot price gold in dollars. And I've shown you the Egon one where he says no amount of dollars will be able to buy gold, like in Germany. And I read you that thing. I can read it again. In Germany, the price of gold went from like 21,000 to like 2 trillion or something. I'll find it and read it again. Let me read it again. Let's see. Okay. So this was Egon. He was on Twitter with it. He says the real move in gold and silver is yet to start. Yet to start, and we're at 2,300. So then he comes up, and this is what you'll really like. Let's see. So he gets to this amount. So he talks about the debt fucking everything over, hyperinflation. Let's see. I believe a bank in Philadelphia went out last week. Let's see. The exponential moves are about to happen. The final 5 minutes where the water in the stadium goes 93%. And we're right about there. Okay. Here you go, Luke. The Weimar Republic in January 1923, 1 ounce of gold cost 372,000 marks in January. By the end of November, the price was 87 trillion marks for an ounce of gold. So it went from 372,000 to 87 trillion. So how'd you like to hold gold back then and going, now again, the gold was priced in dollars. Now this is dollars doing it. So look at it, 327,000 to 87 trillion. So we're at 2,300. We're going to, I don't know, 2 million. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but I'm conservative. But I'm saying 50,000 until there is no more dollars, because once this goes exponential and once everybody realizes we're on the Titanic, it's sinking, we got to get the fuck off. And this is the whole world realizing my British pounds are no good, my Swiss francs are no good, my yuan, my yen, all the Africans, all the Europeans, all the Asians realize the Japanese, South Korea are no good. There is only one boat to get on, and that's gold. And there's not enough gold to go around, which means the price has to go up. And COMEX will be blown up by the time this happens. So keep that in mind, that then you're going to be mighty happy you're in gold. So you're near the finish line, and you're like, yeah, I'm winning but I can't see I'm winning the marathon. But I'm there. Yeah, I'm gonna quit like 100 meters from the finish. You want to quit the marathon instead of just finishing it up, and that's where we're at. So look for that. Yeah, your kids will never have to work again. My girls will never have to work again. Not that they work now. Well, Daria works. Jenna doesn't work. But it's going to be so high because once the snowball, rolls up, who knows where all these people only have one choice. It's to buy gold and silver. There is nothing else. Well, maybe it'll be BRICS, but it'll be BRICS gold-backed currency. So it's still gold. All the central banks are going to need gold for BRICS, and they'll be on the gold-backed system, which means they have to have more gold, enough to print it. Saudi and Russia want gold for their oil. There's too much demand for gold that the price can stay here. It's just nearing the end of these derivative paper gold. It's still on that system until it gets blown up, and then you're going to see it really go. So hold on, you're almost there. Another week, and then we'll see next Tuesday what happens at BRICS, and we'll go from there. So just relax. All right, let's finish this idiot.
Every day without fail, there are private companies that are being liquidated there. Who said if it's capitalist owned or private owned, it's inherently successful? Who said that?
I said
So
it.
it's an ideological debate we can have.
All right,
We
let's
know
debate.
what happened in Eastern Germany. We know what happened in the Soviet Union. We know what's happening in China. We know what's happening in Cuba. So we can have a deeper discussion about whether this is really a way out. We sometimes get fixated on concepts, but in reality, you do the things that you say you don't want to do. Every time capital gets into problems, the state must intervene. Every time. That's when you now see the importance of socialist principles.
All right,
Here's
so
some things that don't tell you.
the guy's totally out of his freaking mind. That's the African. This is Malema destroys the German ambassador. Malema is the South African guy who's out of his fucking mind. So he thinks socialism works. And it didn't work in Cuba or Soviet Union or China. But every time the capitalism gets in trouble, they go to the socialism. No, they don't. Having the banks get bailed out by the Federal Reserve is not socialism. Socialism is the government running the market. How the fuck is that the government running the market? And tell me where the government has run the market where it's worked, because it has never worked. Once you get away from gold, you're fucked because you overprint your dollars. Is it capitalism or is that socialism? I'd say it's socialism. Socialism, though, is when the market is not free, the invisible hand is not free, government interferes, as it did with mortgages. But because of the bank bailouts, that did not go to socialism to fix it. And if you kept the socialism out of it, you wouldn't have needed the bailouts, because that's what causes the bailouts. So again, here's some guy who comes in and he wants to debate things he has no idea about. He tries to make it sound like, he makes the general comment, every time capitalism doesn't work, socialism bails it out, instead of saying every time capitalism hasn't worked, which is never, is when socialism interferes. But he doesn't tell you that part of it. Capitalism has always worked. What do you think the U.S. is so strong for so many years? In Great Britain, all these countries are capitalist. It's always worked. Sweden is capitalistic. Norway is capitalistic. Like you said, West Germany, capitalists. All Western Europe was capitalist. In fact, the socialists were Eastern Europe, Russia, which is why they're all fucked up, is because you didn't have a free market. So simply put, capitalism is the free market. It's me and you selling tennis shoes and golf clubs, and people free to buy it, and we're free to sell it. And it works 100% of the time. It's always worked. Socialism is the government controlling it, and it has never worked, because you need a free market to make the adjustments needed for people who want golf clubs and tennis shoes and bowling balls. The government cannot possibly control that. So when the government gets involved and the banks are in trouble because of the housing, getting a bailout. Okay, we didn't need a bailout. Let them all fail because, but since Clinton forced them to take the bad loans, then he had to bail them out. But that's outside interference. That's not capitalism. So every time capitalism gets in trouble, name a time capitalism got in trouble when they were on the gold standard in the 1870s to 1913. As soon as socialism comes in, which is what the Fed is the government running the money and having a monopoly on it. We've had all these wars and all this inflation. That is the socialism effect fucking up our country because they control, they're controlling the money. So it's not capitalism in the first place. Once the money goes to a Federal Reserve and they are printing it and JP Morgan has a monopoly on it, you're not in capitalism anymore. That's what this is capitalism. Here you go, Luke. This is capitalism. Nobody's getting my gold. Nobody can take it away. Nobody can say it's worthless. It's the biggest lock we have. Look, I feel like nothing is going to happen with brics. I hate to say that. Trust me. It just seems like this hopium has gone on forever and will never change, honestly. However, I still believe and haven't given up yet. Well, we're a week away. You pissed Putin off with the war. You pissed China off. Everybody knows the dollar can't keep going on. It's worthless. $21 trillion printed and another 150. You have the sanctions. You have 40 countries wanting to go into BRICS to get out of the dollar. Now you have the U.S. trying to bully everybody, stay in the dollar. They're going after Saudi Arabia and Argentina not to join BRICS, stay on the dollar. Well, the dollar is gone. It has no value. Now, can we do that? We're trying to do it to China and say, look, don't trade with Russia. Well, you've already fucked Russia up because they're already sanctioned. So you got Russia pissed at you, wanting to go on the gold back. Okay. You've got them at war and you can't beat them. So Russia's won the war. I don't know what you're doing with, I think they're going after all the soil in the Ukraine now, but you've already got Russia pissed and China doesn't need you because even though you're the leading trade partner, your dollar isn't worth anything. Does China really want to trade in US dollars? They've stopped the treasuries. They're not going to buy them anymore. So nobody's buying, which means there's no demand for the dollar. So who wants to be in dollars? So when you present it as you can either be in gold or be in the dollars, who the fuck's going to choose dollars? So that's what we have going for us is the fact that BRICS is there and it's China and Russia, where the U.S. could kill Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi because they were small African countries. But if you notice, they're kicking the U.S. out of Africa and France, and they're announcing a gold-back system, which has already been announced. It's just going to be finalized next week. Maybe we got to wait a little longer. They should announce it, and then it's when does it get implied? But there's nothing the U.S. can sit there and cry all they want. There's nothing they can do, and they're starting to realize, oh shit, our dollar's worthless. That's what you're seeing is the dollar's worthless, and they're going, oh shit, what do we do? And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing them cry and argue, oh no, we can't get off the dollar. And that's what you're seeing is, and your hope is, oh shit, they're not going to get off the dollar and we'll be stuck on this low gold because they want to keep the dollar going because JP Morgan has the monopoly on printing it. And that's what basically you see. So JP Morgan doesn't want to give up the monopoly, and the U.S. can blackmail and basically, bully all these countries. But the countries are sick of it. And to go with China and Russia, they need a go back system because they don't trust China and Russia. And I wouldn't trust the U.S. So you can't trust any of the countries. I want my own currency backed by gold, like I'm Zimbabwe. But you see, Zimbabwe did it, and nobody died over there. So you see, it's happening, and the more that gold happens, the quicker the dollar goes up. Now it's going to take a little bit more time to kill the dollar, even though we know it's zero. Most everybody else, Warren Buffett doesn't want it to go to zero because then we're going to see him cry when he loses $2 billion and all these other idiots. But they're all wrong. It's gone to zero. And like I say, watch the Romans. What did the Romans do? I'm sure they didn't think this could happen. Boom, there goes the Roman Empire because they took all their gold and silver out of their currency. You cannot run the currency with $150 trillion and think that it's not broken. So you must understand it is broken, and everybody knows it's broken. And the U.S. is freaking out trying to hold on to it instead of just buying gold, which is what they should do. You can't go wrong in gold. You can't lose with gold, right? You can't lose. So it's just a matter of if we move to Russia and use the gold there, or we use it here, or whatever. Well, there's nothing to give up on. You can't lose with gold. I just said it. So you have gold, which can't be printed. So you can't lose. How much longer can the dollar go? But if you're fucking up, Russia and China are friends. So China's going with Russia, which means India. Now they might not want to go, does India want to go with the rupee? Well, nobody wants the rupee. However, and they're all inflated to zero. Look at Venezuela and look at Zimbabwe before, and look at Brazil and look at Argentina and look at Sri Lanka and Greece and that. And Germany's headed that way, and Italy's headed that way, and France should be headed that way. They're all collapsing. They're all worthless. So there really is no option but to get into the BRICS dollar. So if you understand that concept of everybody's dollar's gone, and you can see half these countries going under, right? Look at Venezuela. Their inflation rates like, I don't know, like 10,000%. Zimbabwe's was like 50,000%, and nobody can eat, and there's no food on the shelves. Look at Venezuela's dictator. Well, we're not going to have that kind of socialism. That is socialism. There's one kind of socialism. There's one kind of Keynesian economics, and there's one kind of Austrian economics. And we know the Keynesians don't work because the government cannot control the market. The people have to. That's all you need to know. So the socialists will ruin every economy, as they always do. And funny how the Austrian economy always works. Free market always works because we're letting the people choose what they want to buy and where they want to work and how much they can get paid. And then they're using that money to pay their bills and pay their food and then save their money. That's how so much is in the stock market, because people save their money and put it in stocks or 401ks. But the part that people don't realize is all the money in dollars, they're fucked. So you got a couple $100,000 in your pension, it's gone. It's zero because it's in dollars. And when these people start pulling, and the U.S. can say, but Biden's printing, and Biden works for the Chinese. It's obvious. He has that, $20 million that they gave him, or his son. And so who do you think's running this? George Soros wants to blow up the U.S. and the Chinese who want to blow up the U.S. And they both benefit by the U.S. collapsing. So I'm not really sure what you're so concerned about. If you look at what's happening, how can you stay in the dollar or any of the Titanic paper issue Wall Street or banks? How can you stay in them with confidence that they're going to be around? So look at your options. You want to be in Amazon stock and Apple and Microsoft, or do you want to be in a bank and a real estate trust? You better get your rifle out with your 60,000. Or do you want to be in a CD or a money market at the bank and hope it doesn't go out and hope you can get your money out? So you tell me where's a better place than gold, and I'll I'm not selling my gold, but I'll listen, but you can't because there isn't anything. This is the home run is the gold, right? This is it. We know this is the only answer, and it's limited and you can't print it, which is the cherry on top. So therefore, yeah, but think about it. The US is kicking and scratching to hold on to the monopoly and the Ponzi scheme of the dollar. And they don't want to go, but just look, Russia, China, here's the BRICS thing next week. I mean, it's already approved. They're going to announce a gold backed currency. It's already out there. Mark McGuire already said it. So we're a week from away from the announcement. When does the money actually go out into the public? Maybe a couple weeks later. What, May 14th, maybe by June 1st. There's now BRICS gold backed currency. And all these countries want to join BRICS, and it's just taking time. But how do you stay in the dollar? I mean, give me one reason you would stay in the dollar. So much is printed, printing's inflation, the value's gone. How do you stay in it? Yeah, they're Ponzi scheming it to make the value look like it's still good, and it's the reserve currency, and they're playing around with Saudi Arabia, trying to get them, but it's already, the horse has already left the barn, as John Madden would say. Saudi is already taking other currencies and wanting to get paid for their oil and gold. And I don't see how they're going to do that. The U.S., well, we'll give you our defense secrets and uranium and all this shit. I don't know. So Saudi can have a nuke. I mean, we're selling nukes to keep our dollars. I mean, we'll have another war. I mean, let's have 50 wars. And for some reason, they think war is going to save the economy. Our economy is in a big recession. You've got to understand that, but of course they don't tell you that. But a lot of people out of work. You see the prices, which is inflation, and you see the layoffs and all that's just bad news. So anyway, just look around. Don't get emotional. Look at what I'm teaching you. Look at what's going on. And then make up your own decision. Would you rather be in money or gold? And I don't think there's not a choice. And you can't lose. So go turn in your gold and get dollars for it. But as far as the housing market being too expensive, what good is having a house that nobody can afford? So I got a house, I'm going to sell it for $700,000 and nobody's going to buy it. Do you want to hold the house? Is that what BlackRock's big plan is? I'll own all the houses and I won't sell any of them. And then we'll watch BlackRock go out of business because that's the stupidest thing to do. You don't want to just own houses because they're expensive. You got to pay property tax, maintenance, and everything else on them to keep. And you spent something on it. So you bought them for 400 Rand and now they're worth, but guess what? The price of the houses are going down, not up. It's the interest rates going up. So as the dollar collapses, the house value collapses with it. And then you'll be able to buy a house very cheaply. So understand the economics as I try to teach it to you. So all the values are dropping. All the houses will drop, as will the cars, because the dollar will go to zero and you'll be able to buy a house with a quarter ounce eagle. Well, maybe you need a full ounce, but that's what you'll need. So just understand that concept and you'll be fine. I mean, I'm not worried. I don't know why you're worried. So you're listening to the news or something, or Biden or Putin or somebody, but you're getting distortion. Don't listen. Listen to me. Learn and then make your decision based on what I teach you and what you have your common sense. You're smart and understand what's going on. And then are you going to be as I am, as calm as can be? I mean, I am like, I got my gold. I'm in great shape. So that's where you're at, Luke. Don't worry about it. Good God. 10 years of me investing. Well, I forget this card, but I mean, I've got, what? This is a Barry Bonds 100 count. This is 1999, so this is 30 years old. I don't care about it. I bought it to buy it, but I didn't buy it expecting the price to go up. I probably bought it for $100, hoping it would be 1,000. I didn't buy my Montana in mid 1990s, hoping it would go up to 100,000. I bought it for probably $100, and it was as mint as I could see. It's a great card. Maybe it's a 9, maybe it's a 10, but I never thought it'd be worth 100 and a quarter if it's a 10. So the anticipation when you're buying gold is because the value of the dollar's dropped 99%. The value of this is this. This is the value of your dollar. It's worth a penny. That's why it's ripped. This is it. So had you held on to the dollars and not bought the gold, it wouldn't be worth anything. So you made the right move. You made a very smart move by getting out of the dollars into gold, because this isn't worth anything. Now they can tell you it is, or they can bully up countries to stay in oil and make it the reserve currency, but it doesn't matter if it's ruined, if it's worthless, doesn't matter if it's a reserve currency. And most of it is just for the FX. Oh, you're Swiss, you're Egon, you're going to Germany, you got to trade your Swiss francs for dollars and dollars for euros. Why? Why is that transaction? So that's how we make money in the Ponzi scheme, the U.S., by doing that. And the countries are fed up with it, going, what the fuck? Why do we need this? So all we've done was print $130 trillion to do this Ponzi scheme. That's it. So understand that, and you will be fine. And that's all I can say. Fundamentally, we understand. Fundamentally, have nothing to worry about in gold. It cannot go down in value. They're done with the paper gold. It's ending. They're fighting with the derivatives. Let's see what it's at now. It is at It's at 23.14. So I don't know what you're bitching about. It's 23.14. It's still 2,300, and it's kind of just level right now because of the derivatives, right? And it's still, I think they're derivating more than we have to buy, because the central banks have to buy for brics, right? So I would imagine they're going to say, here's our gold, give us the brics gold back currency. Maybe. I'm not quite sure how they're going to buy it, but that would be my guess. So all the gold goes to brics, and they get the gold back currency, and then they use that for transactions. They'll still have their local currencies so they can buy, but the problem is when they get the stuff in their local currency, is not going to be worth anything. Plus, it's all FX. So when the dollar goes out, this is going to be it's going to be really difficult to figure out things. But at worst case, you didn't lose all your money in dollars, and you can always trade your gold in. And I'm sure you didn't pay 2,300, especially 10 years ago. So it's worth 2,300 if that needs to be. But don't worry about the house. Don't be so caught up in the house. Maybe you buy a house in Russia or Switzerland. Well, Switzerland is expensive. Maybe go to Sweden and buy a house there. It's not that expensive. You don't have to live here. God knows why. This place is a joke. Anyway, So that's it. Let's wrap up. So baseball again. We got Cleveland. We got Arizona. We got Philly under 8. We got Pittsburgh over 7.5. Baltimore under 8.5. Tampa Bay over 8. Houston under 8.5. Boston under 8.5. KC under 9. Minnesota under 8.5. The Cubbies, the Metis, the Niners, and the Dodgers over 7.5. The bets are Philly under 8. Baltimore under 8.5, Tampa over 8, Houston with Verlander under 8.5, Kansas City under 9, and the Cubbies all 5 units. The 10-unit bets, Boston under 8.5. That's your baseball. Nothing in basketball. Both series are 0-0, so we'll have to wait and see. Looks like Minnesota's going to kill Denver, our friend Anthony Davis, so we'll see. But that's what's going on. Gold 23.15, and it's just a matter of time. We'll see brics next week, and we'll see it go to the moon. I mean, for as much as it's not going, it's still 23.13. It's not like it went down to 2,000. They tried knocking it down, went to 22.80, and it's 23.13. You know, it's like it gets to there, gets bought up. Again, there's only so much they can short because they actually need the physical gold. There's not much left. So it should be soon. It'll be going out. So let's look at it June 1st, and then we can talk, Luke. We'll see what happens June 1st, but we know where it's headed. We know brics is coming out with the gold back. We know the dollar's collapsed. It's worthless. So we know all that. You can't hide that, right? So it's up to Russia and China, who are both kind of pissed at the U.S. right now. So believe me, they want the gold price to go up. The gold price is going up. They're the ones doing the buying. Russia, China, India are the ones buying the gold and the silver. Saudi Arabia, I thought they were in brics. Now they're waiting and seeing what they can negotiate from the U.S. But the U.S. is so fucked. They think the petrodollar is so important. It isn't. It's gone. I mean, you've printed the dollar to death, $20.8 trillion plus 130 trillion in FX, these bullshit exchanges. It's $150 trillion you printed. You think it has a value? To whom? So anyway, that's where we're at. That's the bottom line. I won my fight with the pool. So I was telling you, the lady, it was like 5 feet up to about here, and it's fine. And it got up to about here, and I go, can you please raise it so I'm like here? And she wouldn't do it. And she said, I was told not to do it. And I look, I've talked to the manager, the supervisor, and she said, you should do it. Oh, I can't do it. I was told not to move it. So I met with the boss yesterday, and the boss said, of course you should move it. I says, I'm the customer here. All I'm doing is ordering a hamburger and fries. All I want to do is get served. He says, of course, she should have moved it. And she says, I know we were told not to move it, but that was only if it's still at 5 feet, we shouldn't move it. But if it's at 5'2", we should move it to 5 feet. I go, well, maybe that's the confusion. You need to explain if it's under 5 feet to make it go back to 5 feet. I says, this lady probably only catches half the conversation. She's an idiot and she's rude and she's not very customer friendly for a gym that you've got a movable floor, which I've never seen before. Well, if you got a movable floor, then move it. You know, if it's at 5'2" and it needs to be 5 feet, move it. She says, well, I didn't move it down. I said, I know, but I don't care. It got moved down. You got to move it back. And she wouldn't do it. So anyway, supposedly she had a talk with all the supervisors and said, look, if it's under, we know we move it for synchronized swimming. If it goes back to 5, make sure it goes back to 5 feet. If it's 5'2" and it's over people's head, got to go down. And then when they move it back up, they're not moving it back to 5 feet. So we had a good understanding, me and the boss. So this idiot woman, I wrote it off. It says she's very rude. She lied. She says she shouldn't move it. And clearly she should have. very unprofessional, and I probably don't talk to a liar. And, I said, what was her response? Well, the first time it was at 5 feet. And I says, well, if it was at 5 feet, why did I ask her to raise it? Does that make sense? Wouldn't I have, if it's 5 feet, I'm fine. I don't need it raised. So I said, so she's lying to you. She's lied to me twice. She keeps using this. I'm not supposed to move it. Anyway, so being stoic, I talked to the supervisor and we agreed, and it should be 5 feet, or if she doesn't, she should move it. And if she doesn't, then I'm going back to the supervisor and we'll get her fired. Because the supervisor agrees that's not the way you treat customers. It's just wrong. I said to her, I didn't understand why she wouldn't back up. Well, was she worried she's going to get fired by not raising it? Like, she's so concerned I can't raise it. I can't move it, even though it had moved from Thursday to Friday. So she's like, I don't understand that. The guy Saturday moved it and he didn't, he just, yeah, let me move it, moved it. That was it. What was the big deal? Why couldn't she just do that? Right. So anyway, that's my stoic thing for the day. So we've got our baseball, no basketball tonight. Series are just starting. We see the socialism capitalists. Again, the socialist or the communist says, well, capitalism doesn't always work or it needs to be bailed out by socialism, when socialism is the problem that causes capitalism not to work. It's because of forcing people to make bad loans, and then of course they collapse, and of course the bailout is because you guys did the thing in the first place. So anyway, that's the bottom line. I think that's it. Have a nice May 7th. The girls are fine. Daria's working today. Jenna seemed fine. And that's about it. It's funny. I love when I'm sleeping and I hear the text. And I went to bed too early yesterday because Daria texted me at like 12:30, and usually I'm up till 1, but I was sleeping. So I heard, I must have just fallen asleep, and I heard 4 or 5 of these. I thought it was Jenna, and then this morning I heard some, and that was Jenna in the morning. Daria going to work, and keep in mind there's 7 hours difference. So when she's texting me at 12:30, it's 7:30 her time. She's going to work. When Jenna texts me, it's 7 hours different. So at 5 in the morning is like noon. So she's eating lunch and she's getting ready for dinner. And now they're already sleeping, and I'm getting ready for my dinner. So that's the one adjustment. But I think everything's fine with the girls, so that's good. And then just waiting to travel. I had an interview today for another job at GM. Now, tell me if this isn't weird. She says, "Are you interested in a GM financial analyst job?" I said, "Well, what's it pay? Because if it doesn't pay, I'm not interested." "Oh, it pays 41 an hour." I said, "I'm not interested." "Well, what are you looking for?" I go, "Well, it starts with the 5, so it's 50 to 60. Oh, we can do 48. What? Why didn't you say that in the first place? Okay, 48 I can do. She says, "Are you planning a vacation?" I says, "Yeah. It's in July, but I don't know when. I'm waiting for Daria's mother to be able to fly there, and then I'll take Daria on vacation." So we don't really have the date booked yet. We're going to book it, but we don't have it. And it could be later. It could be September. I don't know. I'm hoping for July just because let's meet already, but we'll see. And so I kept telling her, well, I don't have it official, but I am taking a week. And she started saying like, well, you got, you can only take so much time and we're not going to pay you. I says, I know you're not going to pay me. I don't care. I'm not trying to get paid for the vacation. I'm meeting my girlfriend, and I don't give a fuck. I'm going anyway. I mean, you're not going to stop me from going. But if I'm working, I don't care. But by the way, I have gold, so I'm never worried about that. So anyway, so we'll see what happens with that. Otherwise, Have a good day. Don't worry about gold and bricks and all that nice stuff. It's everything's fine. So if you had gold, you can't lose. Attack on Wall Street guy. If you have the dollar, you're going to get screwed. If you're in stocks, you're going to get screwed. You're getting screwed anything on the Titanic. So you must realize that. So by doing nothing, you're taking a huge risk. By keeping your money in gold, you're fine. So you must understand that you can't lose in gold. They're not going to say it's worthless, but all the other is going to be worthless. Anyway, so that's where we're at. So have a good night. Again, the big bet is the Boston Red Sox under 8.5. Cutter against somebody else. Both ERAs are like in the ones. Should be a low scoring game. And that's Verlander against a 2 ERA. And Baltimore's got some low ERA pitchers. KC's got their low ERA pitchers. So it should be a good night philosophically with the low ERA pitchers. We will see. All right. So take care. Have a nice night. www.teaserking.com. So for class, what I'm doing, you'll have to go to Teaser King to buy the class and then come here and it'll be a private class. I'm hoping to get 20, 25 students a class. And then depending how many I get and how many times they want class, we can go through that. And I got to figure out the time. I don't want to have it at 2:00 and everybody's working. They can't make a live class. I want it to be more of a live class with the questions like Luke and Greg John have and go from there. But yeah, don't worry. You can't. All you know is if you're in dollars, you're fucked. And if you're in gold, you can't lose. Now there's a little timing, and the U.S. doesn't want to get out of the dollar, so you're going to have a little fight on your hand. But that's the whole nature of it. But we're on Russia and China's side versus the U.S. side, so keep that in mind. All right, I'm going to go. I'll see you tomorrow. A little bit earlier. What's tomorrow? Wednesday? Yeah, I'll shoot for an earlier time. And that's about it. So www.teaserking.com. See you tomorrow. Have a nice day and enjoy. And we got one more week till brics blows up gold and makes it fly. All right. Take care, everybody.